Welcome to another episode where we spill the tea on all things Flea. From wild vendor stories to incredible finds, we're bringing you the voices, treasures, and secrets of the flea market world. So grab a seat and let's dive in. This is you, me, and the Flea.
Flea fam, welcome back to another episode of You, Me, and the Flea. And today I am joined by Jose Colon. Jose, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. And for everyone listening in, Jose is assistant manager at our Alsip location. So welcome in. Thanks so much for coming.
Absolutely. Come on down, folks. Come to our soul location.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so Jose has a really cool story, guys. So wanted to introduce you to him, kind of get his thoughts and background, because it's very cool and interesting. So let's jump right in, if you will.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jose. How did we get here? How did we get to a flea market?
You know, it was like I just woke up and I was here. No, I come from the literally. My background is literally from the collection field. So I've been doing that for about 30 some odd years, decades. And so I've managed teams of about 15 to 30 folks at a time, had unit leaders.
Yeah.
And all that kind of fun stuff. So the opportunity presented itself, and I
How does one even go into collections? Like, were you just like, I mean,
you know,
that is not a path where as like a 6-year-old, I'd be like, Mom, I'm going into collections.
yeah. So a friend of mine was like, I was in the middle of work. He was like, I think you do really good at collections.
Really?
And I was like, you think? He was like, yeah, man, I really do. And so I gave it a shot, and it started from a really small location out in Chicago.
Okay.
And it took off from there.
Awesome.
I wasn't looking back. I mean, it was a great income. So
Yeah. Okay, so collections, because immediately I'm thinking evil, mean,
100%.
annoying, people that are like calling me nonstop, right? Like, hey, you owe $3. Where's our $3.40? You know, like collections will hunt you down for no matter the increment. So, I mean, are you that guy?
I was that guy for a long time, and then I showed other people to be that guy.
Okay, I was gonna say, like,
I was that guy.
because I know you a little bit personally here, and you're so cool, so I can never see that side of you. Just the hustler and like.
And that's genuinely what it all comes down to. You got to have that hustle, and
Yeah.
outbound calls. You got to be, you got to be tactful in how you're handling them.
Kind of hard. You have to be like, listen, I need my money.
Exactly.
Give me my money.
It's due. You hear all the stories. You always hear, you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. Those kinds of things. So yeah, it's fun like that.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sure like people would tell you like all of their like weirdest drama. Like, listen, I stubbed my toe and I've been out of work for blah, blah, blah.
You
tell me
their
something crazy.
statements. I don't mean to interrupt. When you're going through their statements and they're telling you the whole sob story, and you're like, dude,
Just
Uber Eats. Yeah, okay. Not so much.
You're not struggling.
Yeah, no, not at all. Insanity.
Uber Eats.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for
Busted
sure.
with Uber Eats.
And then when you mention it to them, they're like, I don't remember that.
Oh,
Of course not.
of course you don't. Yeah, exactly.
You had a whole month of Uber Eats. What are we talking about?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't think I could ever do it. I would have like, so as a server, even for me, like when I would like drop off the check, I would feel so weird, right? Like I'd be like, okay, thanks so much for coming. Like, and especially if they were like the people that would get like extra something or like whatever. And so like their bill kind of racked up and I'd be like, I'm just going to put this right here and
Disappears.
let me know when you're ready, whatever. So like, I can't imagine doing what you did to any capacity. Like I can't.
You know what's crazy is that it's a lot easier because you're on the phone
Okay, true.
versus having to deal with somebody personally right in front of you.
Right.
So that's kind of a big shift.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
a good point.
You know what I mean? That's a major shift in reference to how the transition happened from collections to the market.
Right.
Just because you're dealing with them directly. So there is a face to a name. And so.
Okay, so let's go. What made you make the switch to a flea? Like, had you ever been to one before?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, been to a flea market many a time. I always loved the energy that was always bubbling in the flea. I can't say that I've actually been to, prior to me stepping into Swap, I hadn't been.
Okay.
So it just resonated when I came in. The energy, the way it flowed, the talk, the communication, all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. It like pulls you in for some reason. Even like it insanely, as obviously when you're thinking about it like from a job perspective, like I was like, man, this is a big beast to handle. I mean, it is. It's not like whatever, but then like as a consumer, like you just can't help but just be stimulated the whole time. Kind of like a casino where you're just like, whoa.
This is true.
You know?
Yeah,
That's how I
for
feel.
good reasons.
Yeah.
Some are sure bad. You're just kind of like, wow, that shouldn't even be legal. But yeah, 100%.
Seriously. Okay, so you made the switch. How are we feeling now? What are we doing? What are some of your daily roles? Tell us that.
The daily role.
If there is.
There's oh my God, there's just so much to do in a day.
Yeah, yeah.
We're split 15 different ways. So yeah, that's been a change for me ultimately, just because,
You're not on the phone all day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're not. So coming from the corporate environment, you're in a cubicle and you're managing 15 others, 20 others, and you're just kind of like in that specific space.
Right.
Where here, you're just kind of like, you're everywhere, and the market is huge. So that's a change for me. So the day-to-day is basically making sure that everything is ready to go from the start of the day, making sure that those cars are lined up properly and that there isn't any kind of issues, no one's cutting each other, so on and so forth, that kind of a thing. That's just one small piece of it. That's just getting everybody in the morning. And then it comes down to, just your people. Making sure that they're where they need to be. Box ticket takers, making sure that our maintenance people are doing what they need to do, that they've checked in, so on and so forth. So there's just a lot of things going on, and that doesn't even start with the vendors coming in to pay.
Right.
And then the people that are just coming in for their dailies, just to go ahead and rent for a day. And I encourage any and all of y'all to come on out.
Yes.
If you have that entrepreneurial spirit, I would suggest and encourage that you do come on out, because it is definitely worth your while. The one thing I did learn just coming in, and just meeting some of the folks, they had no clue that I was coming in to be in management at all whatsoever. And so they were questioning me too. So that's kind of a trip.
Yeah.
As you're out there, and it's huge, but it's a huge community.
Yeah.
And so everyone kind of like,
And a community that's not new. Like they've been, they've been working together for a long time. Whether it's,
100%.
vendor to vendor or,
So there's some old school vendors that are there. There's some newer vendors that are there.
Right.
And so they'll keep by and they're kind of watching what's going on. So
they're taking notes on you. It's for sure.
100%. And I remember this guy, he didn't know what I was doing there. And he goes to me, he just stopped me. I thought it was very cool. I won't even mention his name because I don't know if he wants me to go ahead and mention his name, but I think he's one of the better vendors out there. And he goes, if you come here, you got to know that you're coming in, you got to come in with an entrepreneurial spirit. He's like, this is the only place you're going to see where folks are loading and unloading. 4 a.m, getting in line, the hustle. He's like, and this is what they do. He's like, some folks may go ahead and do this as their actual income, and then others may do this as a side hustle. And I just thought that intro in and of itself was just awesome.
Yeah.
And then I kind of fell in love with everything. When you look at it from when you go to the flea market just to be a customer and shop and take a look at things, you don't think about everything that's working in the backside of it all.
Right.
When you get to find out, you get the clue, that's when you get that epiphany. You're like, aha, I get it now. Oh, this is awesome. This is really an operation as opposed to, and it's not like a mall, you know what I mean? So it's a lot more personal and that from that aspect. So
yeah. I agree. I think you hit it like right on because we have there's really no choice but to like insert yourself into it. Like they're going to come find you. They're going to come and introduce themselves to you, tell you their life story, and you just become like immediate, like friends, family, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then just to see some of these stories of like, oh, I've put my kids through school. I've, literally survived off of this little booth stand. It's crazy.
Some of the older vendors have actually started there. Let's just say they're selling perfume.
Yeah.
They've moved on to go ahead and open up their own establishment in a mall.
Yep.
But yet they still come back to the market and continue it. Why? Because that's their roots. It's their grassroots. This is where they come from.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for opportunity out there for a lot of these vendors that are just coming in. I keep saying that just because it's old, but it's still new, and a lot of our younger youth are not necessarily fully aware. And I 100% encourage it.
And that's funny too, because there's a lot of like talk of like, is the next generation going to step up and kind of continue some of these businesses, right, that their parents have established? And we talk about it all the time. What do you think about that? Do you see some younger faces, or
are you? So, I mean, I literally see it in my face every day. So
yeah, for sure.
There's a vendor there. You see them bringing their kids. The kids aren't all that motivated because, they're at a flea market. They just figure out fist and stuff and, that kind of a thing.
They'd rather be like scrolling their phone, but
you understand. And when there's downtime, they're just kind of sitting there scrolling mail, like you just mentioned. So,
yeah.
But you do see them kind of trying to implement it. A lot of produce guys bring their kids too. And so they're all, I think the best part about it is that they're getting to see it in action. They're getting to see mom and pops go ahead and plunge through it, good and bad times. And so, yeah, I do think that the younger generation will at least, that have had that. As for those that have not, they need to come out and then take a look at it, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially because I think that, kids, I think more so like this generation, correct me if I'm wrong, or like what you think too, but I feel like there's, especially nowadays, there's so much more opportunities where it's like, for example, when I was growing up, my mom was like, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. That was like always like drilled into us, right? And so then you're like thinking of careers. Okay, like what am I good at? What can I like, what would literally just hold my attention for 4 years, right? And nowadays there's just so many more ways to make a living, right? I mean, you could be a YouTuber, for God's sakes. You could start a soap company. Like, there's so many more opportunities and ideas that these young kids had that maybe I didn't necessarily have, right? Or you, right? So
definitely. I there's so many platforms that you can go ahead and use and expound on, and go ahead and take your degree to that next level, if even that degree of what you're going to go ahead and pursue. Because of the platforms, you may just go ahead and find a different direction and just run after that. So yeah, 100%. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of room for opportunity and growth out there for all different means. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think if we can help any kid out there that has any questions, yeah,
absolutely.
There's so many people that would mentor you for sure.
Yeah, come on down, honestly, because I think, let's just say that you're going to go ahead and try to make your own brand, that kind of a thing. I don't think that they're aware of what the flea market is, and that can be used as an actual platform. You can use the social media to go ahead and let people know where you are, where you're selling your gear, your swag. And you can definitely go ahead and go about it that way. And that's something I really, really want to go ahead and push as well. I know I sound redundant. However, it's pretty vital and important that these kids come out and take a look at what it is, because it's a fun time. It's an experience all in and of itself.
For sure.
But yeah, for sure.
Well, I think too, what you mean, like, it's also a great like way to test anything, test any of your ideas, test any of your skills, whatever it is. It's 2 days a week, for example. Let's say this. So if you're somebody out there that's like thinking, not even a kid necessarily, anyone who's like trying to start a business, and it's like, hey, is this idea good or not? What a perfect way, instead of like getting a month of rent like at a storefront in a strip mall, then to come to a flea market, see if people actually like are liking what you're producing, you know, or maybe you think that, you know, the blue packaging is going to work, but the red one is working better. So it's like, you know, there's so many like ways to test what you're selling and what your ideas are to see what a consumer would actually like flock to.
Yeah,
I think so.
100%. You're out there to go ahead and test your product.
Yeah.
You're also out there to go ahead and discuss with those customers. Like you get to test your ability as far as how you're able to go ahead and communicate and express what it is that you're selling and why you're selling it.
Exactly.
It's all a good testing skill.
Yeah.
It's a training ground, if you will.
For sure. Yeah. There's even vendors that have said too, like a lot of the ones that will sell like a general kind of like they sell a little bit of everything. A lot of them have like switched to more specific items because they're not dumb. Like they're like, wait, this is making me more money. Why am I, you know, doing that? So
Yeah, exactly.
love that.
Yep.
Okay. I'm very curious to, since you've had kind of this background that's so unique in terms of like claims, like how do you collect money on the grounds here? Are there like similarities in terms of like, is it not as bad, not as good, but like that skill is still there where you can reel them in, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not.
Probably not as aggressive. Hopefully.
No, and it's not even that. You don't have to be. It's like they're fully aware of it.
Right.
So yeah, you just got to come in with the mindset of, you know, this is their business, this is their livelihood, this is the way they want to go about it, and so you're just reminding them more than outright calling them saying, hey, you know, you got to pay that, you got to go
Right.
or old mini Miranda to go ahead and just open up and dialogue, that kind of a thing, and so it's a little bit more laid back, and again, like I mentioned, you know, once you develop that relationship, you have a face to a name, you know. They're just kind of like, yeah, I know, I'm going to be in there, you know, just give me to the weekend, so on and so forth. And, you know, you can figure it out and work it out with them and they'll come around.
I'm sure you get some excuses though, too. Like,
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't make any money today. It's like,
Exactly. Then
dude, you got a line at your booth.
nobody came in.
Uber Eats.
It's pretty bad of a good record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The equivalent. Okay, what's like one of the biggest adjustments? Because especially, obviously, we're a weekend business. Was that weird to you, or what are some other adjustments that you've had to make?
So the weekend was definitely a big change up for me. Not to say that was a big party animal on the weekends. However, the dynamic of the switch in a week it's really a change.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one thing that was a hurdle to get past, right?
Right.
As far as, are you relating to the market, you're saying?
Yeah, just anything kind of. I mean,
So yeah, just
were you a manager before, or like, okay, so you had the skills of like managing people,
Correct.
schedules, yeah.
yeah. So all of that was already kind of like something that was already in the bag, for lack of a better term. But you know, I think the market in and of itself, you just got to get your mind around how this is functioning, the logistics of it all.
So from management too, because obviously, from, you know, in this position, we've mentioned for so many times here that we have, you know, customers, the visitors, we have vendors who are customers, we have our employees, we have so many dynamics going on, so many cultures going on, so many age groups going on, like literally, so many just employee wise. That's another one too. Like we've had people that, you know, are fresh that have started a year ago, but then there's also people that have been there for 40, 45. How are you dealing with all these things?
It's all a balancing act.
Okay.
Honestly. So the way I work is I just seek to understand, frankly. You know, I just want to understand what exactly, because there's always going to be a gripe about something.
For sure.
Or they don't like something because they've been doing it for this long and this is the way that they think it would work best. And you've got to take that, you got to take that and understand that. And then what you're also thinking is what would optimally work best for the market. So then those are the conversations that we can always go ahead and head down that path when needed and when they arise. But for the most part, you know, shout out to Albert. The man handles the facility like a gem. It runs like a really well-oiled machine. And so that's one of our veterans. And so some of his suggestions and or opinions are valued because, hey, man, this man's been doing this for, you know, almost
100%.
Almost a half century. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like, yeah.
Dang, yeah. No, it's true, though.
Yeah, it is. And so those kinds of things, you just you work with them. You got to kind of massage newer ideas just because, you know, It's not what they typically have been doing for the past 40 years. So you're kind of like, all right, well, let's go. What do we think about that side of it? And then we talk about it. You have conversation about it. And so then again, like I said, you seek to understand what they think would be best, and then also what you're trying to get out of that. And so, generally that's how conversations happen and things change.
Yeah. Well, I think too, with even like vendors, any like change ups and things like that, you are a new person. You do have a fresh new perspective. And obviously, we've been around. So and sometimes change is good, right? So, I mean,
they don't see it.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
But you got to walk them down that path and just kind of make them understand like what it is that we're looking to go ahead and do. The vendors, for the most part, all their interests are, and this is why we're doing this, right? The podcast and everything. And by the way, I'm giving you your flowers now. You're being phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. But they just want exposure. They want to know. They want to be known. They want more customers to come on in. And that's what we're trying to go ahead and encourage and do. And we really are, you guys. We really are. And we're working on it.
We're determined.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so that's kind of the thing for them as far as the vendors go. As far as customers go, you're going to have some issues that may come up. Not happy with a certain item that they purchased and isn't working anymore. You got to let them know right off the bat, hey, look, you worked this out with that actual vendor. I'm sorry that you're not happy with what it is you purchased and it didn't work. Try to work it out with the actual vendor. Sometimes, they escalate. We'll speak with again, you're going back to seek and understand what is actually happening here. And then you try to make the best for both ends of the parties. But being fair isn't necessarily right or wrong, right? So it just depends on what side of the coin you're on.
Yeah, no, I agree. And going back off that, like we've always said for years, we're making swap sexy. So
yeah. Bringing swap sexy back.
Yeah, exactly. We're bringing swap's groove back for sure. Like I said, no, I love that. No, but it's true. I mean, it's a business. And I guess like my question to you, another one would be, like we always, for years and years and years that I've been here, like there's been, everyone's like flea markets. Like anytime I'm like having a conversation, right? They're like, flea markets. I mean, everyone's shopping online now. Like what do you think about kind of a comment like that? Like, do you think flea markets will die? I guess.
So you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so that's just an opinion that's just
so true.
Thrown out there just for the sake of throwing it out there. Like right now, honestly, I think we just had this conversation about my daughter having a conversation with her friend. They're out there doing thrift shopping, and then the subject of flea market came up, and my antennas were raised right away, and I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing.
It's her lingo now.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's actually a great conversation, guys. But again, this was just me like ear hustling too, so I didn't even pay attention. I didn't pay attention or pretend like I didn't pay attention, but I was. I don't know. And so yeah, that's a thing that's coming back, and I don't think that it's ever going to die because why? You're looking for great merchandise. These vendors have, honestly, pretty much, you can find almost anything you want at the market. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. That's not a joke.
Seriously, you don't have to leave the market. And, the market in and of itself, you can find great deals. You can bargain shop with them. It's an experience. Walking outside in the summer, I mean, you get to see all of that, all that type of interaction. So is it going to die with all the online shopping? No, it's not, because you can't compete with the type of bargains that you're going to get and the type of quality that you do get when you do find a vendor for that thing that you're looking for. So yeah, no, I don't ever see it going away. We've been around for a long time, and I think we'll be around for quite longer.
Yeah, I think so too. I think everyone if vendors keep their items fresh, you know what I mean? Like they're not selling what they used to all the time. They're keeping it. They're keeping up with the trends. They got all the good stuff. Like, so that's number one. And then number two, I just don't think on a beautiful day, 75 degrees, sunny, like what better thing to do than to get outside a little bit and just like
exactly
walk and explore and like have conversations with people. Like,
yeah. And trust me, every single one of those vendors will talk your ear off. They have a story for it all, and it's not bad. It's just a good fun. They're just out there to go socialize, and they will, you got an interest, they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always a good time at the market, 100%. So that's what dragged me on in too as well. just the environment, the socializing, the community. All of it just kind of like sucks you in. You're like, yeah, I really like this.
This is it. This is fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I know. So we're coming up on the summer, which is probably the most busiest, most vibrant. How do you balance, a busy work day, work week with like your personal life and stuff? Like, what are some tips maybe as a manager that you would pass on?
The balancing act between the market and personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's a slippery slope.
Especially on the weekends too. I think that's the hardest one too, because it's like, that's when everything goes on too. It's like you have a graduation party, but then you work in the morning. So it's like,
it just goes back to having self-control.
Yeah.
And knowing your limits and drawing them.
Yeah.
No one's stopping you from ever having any kind of fun at all.
I love that.
So you're going to go out and have a good time. Just, if you've had a little bit too much fun, you're going to end up paying for it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, your work week is ultimately just the same as anybody else's. The alternate is that you're working on weekends versus not.
Yeah.
And so everything tends
You
to
can still have fun on a Tuesday, in my opinion.
Shopping on Monday and Tuesday is easy peasy. I mean, there's no way to go to all your errands.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's just it's a balancing act, nonetheless. But yeah, it can be managed for sure.
Love that. Okay, a few more things here, Jose, picking your brain.
Yeah.
Would love to hear maybe your thoughts on things that like maybe that you've seen as like big challenges that you're kind of working towards. Obviously, there is kind of a difference in, your two roles. I don't know what your previous history was before that, but just kind of thinking like about that. Whether it's, like where do you see, I guess, like the future of the market, like where you see it going, maybe some ideas that you would love to see as a whole, even in the industry. I feel like, we've been kind of talking about this, right? Like bringing on more younger people, things like that. Like, what are you thinking?
What I'd like to do is ultimately just bring Swap to everyone's registry, like
radar. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just kind of like, that's the place to go to. We want to make an awareness of Swap-O-Rama, like, hey, we are here.
Yeah, we are.
And then so expansion is definitely one of the things I think that, most of us have discussed plenty of times. And so that's definitely something that I'm interested in, checking out different markets and seeing how they're functioning and making everything work in unison, as opposed to, that market does it this way and this market does it that way. No, it's not going to be the way that it's going to work. So,
right.
That's in the forefront, and that's something that we're definitely working on. And just, so I mean, expansion. As far as like, what we plan on doing for just to switch things up, we've talked about like possibly making it fun, right? Having some bands come out, doing some events, for, customers to have an attraction to come out to alongside of them, visiting our vendors and shopping and so on and so forth. And so what we're trying to do is just bring a new swing to Swap. Yeah. But not taking away the basic elements of what the market is and how it's sustained for as long as it has. And so, that's just, we're just trying to give it just a nice little dash of something new and something reinvented, if you will, right? Because we're not changing it. We're going to go ahead and reinvent it and make it look sharp.
Yes, I love that so much. Great ideas. And things that drive me for sure too. No, I love that, especially when we get together and we get to like feed off of ideas and hang out in the Swap mobile.
You're going to catch.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we are. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're going to catch us out there. Okay. Couple other.
It's not a party bus, you guys. It's an actual Swap-mobile.
It really is. It really
cool. Your tent.
What's one of the best things that you've bought or maybe like seen for sale?
Oh man, honestly, I have.
It could be off the chain too. Like if you saw something so funky.
I've become an addict out there. It's like there isn't anything I don't want to buy out there. It's bad. You might be like, dude, you come back home with like boxes of stuff. And sometimes the vendors they're kind enough to go ahead and say, just take this.
Yeah.
You know, take that. And then it's like, you end up walking away with a box full of like fruit you don't really want. You know what I mean? You're like, okay. So,
what am I going to do with a barrel of bananas? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What am I going to do with all that?
Frozen smoothies for the next PMI, literally.
And that's really what's going to happen. Blueberries, strawberries, all of it, just like that. Throw it in the butter.
Oh my God.
But what was it that I did that was kind of different? I mean, I'm a jogging suit fanatic, so what I've been buying.
Oh, nice.
Solo jogging suits. I mean, you're getting them for the low, and they're working.
Oh yeah, and they're good.
Yeah, the quality is. It's really good. It's surprisingly good. You're like, wow.
And the colors, like so many times, I'm like, wait, I have not seen that out yet.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah, the colorways are pretty cool too.
Nice.
So I bought myself quite a few tools. Got myself some golf clubs as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's
the golf clubs is the best because those are like so random when they're out there. Obviously, like it's not like somebody sells just golf clubs, but
right.
I wish. But yeah, you can get like a good.
And you're walking into a great deal. The driver that you're looking at, you know what the actual cost is.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, hold that. Let me get some cash real quick.
Okay, see, I'm really bad at that because that's one thing I wish I was better at was like because I'm out there all the time too, just walking around recording things. And then somebody's like, wait, did you see what you recorded? Like that's worth, I don't know, like $150. And I was like, he was selling it for $1 for, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I just don't have an eye for some of that stuff. I'm like, I need to like educate myself because God, eBay would love me. Hate to see me coming.
Some of the antiques that they have out there are pretty.
Yeah.
And if it's not necessarily like, if you're not, so if there's the value isn't there necessarily, just the piece in and of itself is just awesome. Like you're looking at some pretty antiquated stuff. Louis, for example, shout out to Louis. That's another Louis. Yeah. She always finds like some classic old
pieces,
phones. And he found a fire extinguisher from like 1920, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And they're made out of brass.
Yeah.
He'll brag about how much he got it for. He'll be like, yeah, I got it for like, $10. And then I'll go ahead and try to turn it over for like 50 somewhere else. But
yeah, no, he found like the one day I was there a couple of weeks ago, he found like a tattoo set.
Yeah.
Like
it was all in
old school. Yeah. Well, he like opened it in front of me and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then he's like, it's a tattoo needle. And I'm like, see, this is what I'm saying. No clue.
Yeah. So you're going to find those pieces that are pretty cool.
And the vendor doesn't care either. Like they're like, I just bought this as a pallet. So it's like, take it.
Exactly.
You know? Is there anything that was like super shocking to you? Like when it comes to just like how the business runs in general or maybe like vendor wise or whatever that was just like.
What was astonishing to me or what was brand new to me, coming from the corporate environment to the market is handling the facility all in and of itself. Like, when you come from a corporate office, you got an issue. It's going to be
you call your landlord or something. Yeah,
it's going to be an IT issue, right?
Oh yeah, or that
I need IT to come out and fix my
right.
System. Here, that's not the case. It's the bathroom. That's why we are going. Yeah, the computers down. We are IT. Bathrooms down. We got to go ahead and do the plumbing. So that kind of thing was a new feature that. It's not that I'm not capable of doing. It's just something I wasn't aware of or something I didn't think that, I had to be doing.
They were like, let me get that IT guy's number. And we're like, no, it's you.
Wrong one, dude. Look in the mirror, bud. You're handling that.
That's all you, buddy.
Yeah. So that was a switch up. Outside of that, I mean.
Do you know what though? Like, honestly, that stuff makes us so much stronger. Like, I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
When it comes to like anything, like I'm like, oh, okay, so what marketing agency are we working in? And they're like, no. That's you, girl.
It's you, homie. Go get it.
That's why we hired you.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's funny. No, I love that too. And it's so funny because Tony brought up the building too, which I was like, I don't know why. Like for me, I guess when I like saw like the team that handled it, I was same thing as you. I was like, these 4 guys on this team are handling all of our buildings. And they're like, oh yeah, like, and I'll never forget this either. Like I saw them in like 4 days build out an entire office in like from like start to finish, like the walls, the drywall, the whatever. And they're just like machines. And they're like, well, yeah, he's a carpenter. He's a skilled plumber. He's a skilled whatever. And I'm like, wow, like
shout out to you guys, Byron.
Man, oh yeah.
You guys are killing it.
Insane.
Yeah.
So talented. And just, again, they have like such a big love for what they do and like the whole business as a whole. At least I'm assuming for Swap in general. Exactly.
Period.
And so they're just like, of course we're going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Jose, this has been awesome.
It's been great. It's been a pleasure.
Do you have any final thoughts or anything else you'd like to throw out here?
Final thoughts. You know, we haven't spoken in Spanish at all. It's none of our...
We have not.
So vengan. Vengan ustedes al LSIP location.
Oh.
Sí tenemos de todo. Si quiere vender y también si quiere comprar. Vengan, tenemos comida. Vamos a tener música también. So vengan. That's pretty much it. So I basically said, come on out.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know what you said.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very aware. Let's give the rest of the swaps a shout, though.
Who at Swap? Who else?
No, wait. Like, I mean, we need everyone come to Ashland.
That's right. Perdón.
También.
También nosotros tenemos Ashland y también tenemos al Melrose location.
Sí.
Y tenemos de todo. So vengan a buscar. Si quieren vender también pueden vender aquí. Y solamente tiene que llamar. Si no sabe qué es la lugar que prefieres, solo necesitamos una llamada y podemos arreglar todo.
Yes. Sí, claro que sí.
Claro que sí. Yeah.
Me encanta. You guys, I know a little bit. I should start throwing this out there.
That's all right.
No.
I haven't heard any Spanish as of yet.
Okay. You know what?
What?
I'm going to have you lead. Mm-hmm. You can interview someone in Spanish.
Oh, I'm going to do a terrible job. So
here's the thing. Come on.
Well, I can try.
Okay.
And I'm sure the Spanish listeners are like, yeah, he's...
No way, Jose.
So it's...
How many times?
You know, I've heard that my whole life.
No way, Jose. Sorry.
Oh. So, I mean, in part of the market, too, I've had to polish up on some of my Spanish as well, because, you know, you've got so many consumers and so many vendors that are Spanish that...
You know what, actually, speaking of this, is this was actually the first place where, and yes, like, I'll take ownership for this. I always assumed it was all the same, too. But now, like, learning about more of the Latin culture as a whole, and, you know, because there are people that are like, no, I'm from Peru. And I'm like, yeah, it's the same shit. And they're like, no, actually, it's not, my girl. Like, and I just, you know, right? Like, I went to school and there was only, like, you know, 5 Latin cultures that I've heard of. And at the flea market, I'm like, whoa, you know, you have literally Puerto Rico, you have Mexico, you have people from Spain, you have people from Peru, you have people from Venezuela, you have people from all over, and it's all different.
Yeah. And it's all awesome. I mean, and
absolutely. It's like the best. Everyone brings their own flavor, literally.
100%. And it's a good thing to see. Mm-hmm. It's a cultural check too. You're kind of like, oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loving it.
Yeah, I do speak differently than that guy, right? I'm sure you see it more than anyone, but yeah, especially. And it's mad respect. Everyone like gets along for the most part and respects each other too. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyways, my final thoughts. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. There's a lot. So can't wait to get you back.
Awesome. Let me know.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for listening to another episode, you guys, of You, Me, and the Flea. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things. Hit us with a comment what you want to see next. What should we do with our interview in Spanish? Who should we talk to? And we'll see you here next week.